What does the telex say?
It's a description of the woman who robbed the bank. Height 160 centimetres, weight 60 kilos, hair brown, eyes green, age between 30 and 40.
That's her.
I don't reckon she'd be that heavy.
What's a few pounds? She did it all right. You don't believe this, do you? Nobody forgets where they got $3,000. She must think we're fools. Listen, Tanner, where did you get the money? Kent, dunno. All right, look, I did steal it. What do you want her to do? Draw you a picture?
You used to treat the women with some compassion.
And where did it get me? Latham and Smith have both admitted to setting fire to the library and deliberately attacking Miss Ferguson.
For God's sake, they did it because they were frustrated. I'm beginning to understand how they feel.
Meg, if it's all getting too much for you, why don't you...
Resign? That seems to be what everybody wants.
What are you doing here?
Well, that's a nice welcome after all this time. Didn't you get my message?
I got a garbled message about a sister of Mersey, New Jersey. I had no idea it was my own sister.
You might at least say you're glad to see me.
I'm sorry, friend. It's been a hell of a shock, that's all. I need a little time. Girls, I want some privacy, okay? Would you mind the shop?
I've already done my stink. Can't they do it?
I want all of you to do it, please.
Boy, they sure know how to make a girl feel at home.
I just think they're a bit wary of strangers, that's all.
But we're not strangers, are we, sweetie?
Aren't we, friend? I mean, 25 years is a long time. People change. I certainly have.
Oh, well, sure. Me too. Well, for one thing, I'm not a Bryant anymore. Do you remember Wilbur Hunter?
Wilbur? Yeah, wasn't he that guy with the permanent razor rash?
That's right. We celebrated our 21st wedding anniversary last fall. You're an aunt now.
That's great. Well, as a matter of fact, so are you.
What? But I thought you were...
Gays have kids, you know. It's a long story. It's just that I had a daughter. Her name's Laurie. She's 22 now. In fact, she's having a kid of her own soon.
Oh, Judy, we have so much to catch up on.
Well, it's not my fault, is it? I mean, you're the one that slammed the door in my face.
Well, Bud and Kitty and I were too young to understand. And Mom always went along with Pop, you know that. All we want to do now is make up for all those lost years.
Is that all?
What do you mean?
Well, maybe I'm getting suspicious in my old age. But it has occurred to me that you might have come all this way just to stop me from getting my hands on Pop's money.
Judy.
Hazel, what on earth happened?
The new prisoner, Mrs. Morris.
Mrs. Morris and me go back a long way.
I wasn't talking to you. Prisoners are not allowed personal dialogue with the officers. Isn't that correct, Mrs. Morris?
Yes, that's right.
Oh,
Come
what?
on, Hazel, on the line. Hazel Jean Kent, you are charged with possession of stolen money. You will be held on remand pending an extradition hearing to take you to Western Australia, where you will face charges of armed robbery. Hazel, is this correct?
No, it's all a mistake. I don't even know what they're talking about.
Perhaps you'd like some help with the official induction procedure, Mrs. Morris?
I am quite capable of handling this on my own. Thank you.
What's going on here, Mrs. Morris? I know things changed, but geez, if you can't even...
That's enough, Hazel, get enough.
Guys! Oh, it's good to see you.
If you know what I mean.
Hazel, what on earth are you doing back in?
Come on, ladies, get to your places. Hello there, Hayes. How you going? Oh, by the way, that's Maxine, comedy relief.
G'day.
Hi.
Hey, Hayes, how are the kids? You got them back yet?
No, George has still got him. But I will get him back, true, just as soon as I get out of this mess.
What did I get you for?
Armed robbery.
You? Come off it.
Yeah. You know what deals the cops are. They reckon I nicked it in Perth. I never even been to WA.
Well, how come they fingered you for it in the first place?
Well, they caught me passing stolen money. I didn't know it was nicked.
Yeah? Go on, then.
Eh?
Go on.
Oh, forget it. They'll have to let me go once they figure it out anyway. So, I heard about the fire and poor old Mouse. You lot look okay, though. So who's Godzilla out in reception?
Oh, that's the freak. Miss Ferguson.
Could have eyes in the back of their head with that one.
Everything's changed round here, Hayes. Mrs. M won't have anything to do with us anymore, and Mr. Faulkner got kicked out.
We'll survive.
Gee, sounds pretty rough. You still chief bartender around here, Lizzie? Could go a drink.
Brought a ton of it in from Woodridge, but the screws got the whole lot of it. Prison's as dry as a bone.
Terrific.
You mean you have hookers and junkies in here as well as cons?
Ex-cons, Fran. Of course. I'd never turn anyone away that needed a place to stay.
God. How do you deal with, well, people like that? What must these women be like, fresh out of prison?
Well, you tell me. What am I like?
Oh, honey, I didn't mean you. Your family. If you knew what we went through to find you. Okay, so Wilbur wasn't very happy when he found out you'd been in jail, but I told him you'd always been impulsive. I'm sure you had good reasons for doing what you did.
Come off it, Fran. You didn't come 10,000 miles just to say that.
Hey, I told you why I came.
Yeah, I know. The old blood's thicker than water. I'd like to believe you, but it's not easy.
Judy, I know we put you through hell. We just didn't understand. But times have changed. We're trying to make amends. Can't you at least try to forgive us?
Well, God knows I want to. You have no idea how many times I've thought about all of you. I just don't want to be hurt anymore.
Well, I guess I can't blame you for being bitter. I'll be at the Terra Vista Hotel. We want you back in the family. If you want that too, well, you know where to reach me.
I reckon the tucker at Woodridge is better than that muck we had here this Arvo.
Yeah, and the scenery was more exciting.
Well, I'd rather have good food than any rotten fella.
Come on, move along, Lizzie. You look different.
Where's me money?
Well, where do you think the cops have got it?
Did you tell them about me?
Well, I wouldn't be in here if I had. They think I'm you.
They can't pin anything on you if you stay cool. But if you so much as mention anything to anyone in here, you've had it. Understand?
Go ahead, I'll be with you in a minute.
Yeah, right, yeah.
You okay?
Sure. What have you got going with Carter?
Who?
Come on. Judy told me you knew each other in Driscoll.
We was just having a friendly chat, that's all.
Is that why you're shaking like a leaf? Why don't you tell me what's wrong?
Nothing's wrong. I've told you I'm all right. Oh, hello, Judy. How's everything?
Oh, you know, up and down like a yo-yo. Not much fun trying to cope on my own.
Is there something you want, Bryant?
I was hoping I could see Jean Carter.
It's all right, Miss Ferguson. I can handle this. Looking for new recruits.
Something like that.
Oh, Bryant, good.
Yes, she wants to see Jean Carter.
Yeah, well, I was just going to call you. Mrs. Davidson would like to see you if you've got time.
Oh, well, what's wrong with the present? I mean, Jean Carter's not going to run away, is she?
Have you signed in?
Do you mean to say that the women aren't allowed to talk to the officers at all unless it's to obey an order or make a request?
Yes, Judy, I'm afraid so.
But Mrs. Davidson, if I hadn't had someone like Mrs. Morris to tell my troubles to, I would have gone up the wall.
I don't enjoy doing this. But the women seem to interpret every consideration as a sign of weakness. They'll have to earn my trust from now on.
But they need someone to talk to.
Yes, I realise that, and eventually I hope to appoint a social worker. But in the meantime, perhaps we could call on you to liaise with the women when necessary.
Yeah, well, I'd like to help you, but I don't have a hell of a lot of time at the moment.
Yes, I know how busy you must be.
Yeah, I've been flat out. Top it all off, my sister's arrived from the States. I haven't seen her in 25 years.
What a lovely surprise. You must be thrilled.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not sure. I mean, the family turned their back on me a long time ago. They haven't wanted to know me since.
Oh, that can't be true now. She wouldn't have come so far.
Yeah, that's what she says. I'd like to believe her, but I don't know. I think I have a lot of thinking to do.
Well, I'm sure you'll decide the right thing. In the meantime, I hope you'll be able to fit us in.
I'll certainly do my best.
God, there must be a pack of goody-goodies in D block. We didn't total up that lot.
What's it for anyhow, Mrs. Morris? I'm sure Smith can explain it to you, Hazel.
Well, you see, Mrs. Davidson has decided that we are naughty little kittywinks and we have to earn merit points. And if we're really good, we get a gold star.
Yeah, the old place is like a bleeding kindergarten.
That'll do, Chrissie.
And Carter, you got a visitor.
Me?
Your name's Carter, isn't it? Come on.
Hi, how are they treating you?
Okay. What are you doing here?
Is that any way to treat your landlady? I just thought you might like to know that when you get out of here, you can always come back to the house.
Thanks.
Hey, why don't you get Hazel Kent off the hook?
Me? I don't know what you're on about.
Oh, don't give me that. That money came from Western Australia. Hazel's never been west of Geelong. That only leaves you.
Well, she could have got it from anywhere.
Yes, she could have, but she didn't. And you were the one that was screaming she'd pinched your money.
And so she did, the last few dollars I had. But it didn't come from a robbery.
Oh, come off it. Do you think she would have pinched a couple of lousy bucks when she had thousands stashed away?
Well, maybe she couldn't get at it. Oh, how the hell should I know? Ask her. Anyway, it's not my problem. So you're not going to try and pin that one on me. Oh, Hayes, aren't you coming to Tucker?
Not hungry.
Come on, love. Keep your chin up. It'll work out all right.
I know. Can't wait to see the looks on those bloody cops' faces and they find out they got the wrong person. Honey, I've got to get out now, Lizzie. I've got to.
The grog's really got you, hasn't it?
I've got to have a drink, Lizzie. I mean, look at me. I get sick if I don't.
You'll be a damn sight sicker if you're going to let that bottle run your life.
I'm in a lousy job of running it myself. What have I got left except the grog?
I felt like that, love. But it's not the answer. It doesn't change anything.
What's that?
Oh, Hayes isn't feeling too well and she's not coming in for tea.
I'll stay with her if you like.
Ta!
Lizzie?
I'll just see if I can collect something in case you feel a bit peckish later.
Lizzie, no.
Oh, you gotta eat, love. What did you tell Bryant?
Nothing. Jude's just fixing me up with a solicitor. She's me mate, that's all.
Is it better than I'm getting out of here in 3 weeks' time, so long as you keep your mouth shut. But if those cops so much as look sideways at me, your precious kids are going to be orphans. Understand?
Look, it takes time. No, I think she's weakening. Oh, look, I've got to go. Will you stop worrying? By the time I'm through with her, she'll be begging us to share the money. Yeah, bye. I wasn't sure you'd come.
Yeah, me neither.
Come on in. I talked to the family earlier. They sent their love.
They did? Fran, I'm so confused. You can't just turn back the clock.
You can if you want to.
I do. More than anything.
Look, why don't you sit down and I'll call down and have some drinks sent up. Then we can talk about it.
Okay. Well, I got nothing to lose, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
Ta.
Lizzie, what in God's name are you doing?
I'm just collecting a few snacks for Hay. She didn't come in for tea.
Yeah, well, she's drying out, and I've seen enough drunks to know a lush in need of a snort.
So what if she is? It's none of our business.
Yeah, but what happens if Virgo finds out that Lizzie has been taking food out of the dining room? You know it's not allowed. What about our points?
What's the matter with you lot? Turning your backs on a mate, sucking up the screws for a few lousy points.
Which we are gonna lose if you don't keep your voice down.
I'll say what I bloody well like. I'm still got a few rights around here, and I've been here longer than the whole bloody lot of you put together.
She helped build the place, actually.
You shut your mouth. I'm not too old to do you over either.
Ooh, blimey, watch out, girls. The Wentworth terror strikes again.
Right.
Oh, knock it off, both of you.
Yeah, calm down, Lizzie. Think of your heart.
What's going on?
Oh, just Lizzie letting off steam, Mrs. M.
Yeah, doing her lolly over all them new rules and all, weren't you, Lizzie?
Oh, it's all these changes, Mrs. M. It's too much for an old girl like me.
There's no reason to shout at the top of your lungs, Lizzie.
We gonna lose points, Mrs. Morris?
Well, under the circumstances,
Oh,
I don't...
see, you got here first. Heard the shouting all the way down the corridor. Anyone care to comment? No, didn't think so. Well, I think a deduction of 12 points should keep you in line in the future.
Isn't necessary.
A breach of discipline means a loss of points.
I'll bear that in mind for the future. Right now, I prefer to handle this my way. There'll be no loss of points.
I knew Mrs. M had come through, the little beauty. All those lovely points.
Yeah, well, take it easy, Lizzie. The freak could have wiped the whole board clean and we'd be back to scratch.
Yeah, but she didn't, did she? Because Mrs. M had her by the short and curlies.
And what about next time? The whole thing's rigged so we can't win.
I warned you, didn't I? The screws can rub those points out a whole lot faster than we can ever earn.
I haven't been here all that long, but it seems to me you can't buck the system. Not the way the deck's stacked.
And why not? If they can do it, so can we. All we need is a big black pen.
Now, what are you on about?
Well, we can rub them out and put in our own total.
Don't be bleeding daft. They'd be onto that straight off.
Not if we do it when the screws change shift. Nobody'll know which shift gave us the extra points.
Yeah. We'd have to wait till the total got a bit bigger, but make it harder for them to spot.
You're all bonkers. Mrs. M's already told us that there's a record book for the points in the staff room, remember?
Chrissie's right. No point changing the chart if you can't change the record book to match.
I know that. But who do you know who's in and out of the staff room all the time, looking after the clean tea things?
Lizzie! You're a crook! Good on you, Granny!
No more for me, no. Just a little bit, huh? You know something, Fran? For years I thought you hated me. I thought you all hated me. I never hated you. Even when I knew that none of you ever wanted to see me again, I never hated you. I'm just a cockeyed optimist.
I wouldn't have come all this way if we didn't want you back.
Hey, this place must have set you back a bit. I mean, look at this room. Why'd they sting you for it?
Well, it is eating up my allowance, but I don't mind. Just as long as we can be together.
If you really wanted to stay with me, why don't you just come over to my place? I mean, it's not the Ritz, but the rent's cheap.
You mean I could move into Driscoll House with you?
Of course you could. I mean, it's one way we could get to know each other a bit better. That's if you really want to.
Honey, there's nothing I'd rather do.
Well, that's a nice start to the day. Ted insisting on searching my car.
There was no question of singling you out, Meg, but it is a regulation.
It might be, but in all the years that I've worked here, I've never known it to be enforced. Now, you yourself said it was a ridiculous rule to apply to officers.
Well, circumstances are different now.
Well, so it seems. It's bad enough having Ferguson watching me like a hawk without a gate guard quoting regulations at me.
I understand.
No, I don't think you do. Now, we've been friends for years. Please stop this before it gets out of hand.
It isn't that simple, Meg. I may have started this crackdown, but Joan Ferguson and Ted Douglas are going to make damn sure that I keep it going.
Well, what's Ted Douglas got to do with it? Don't tell me Ferguson's gone over your head to him.
Not in so many words. Apparently, Ted Douglas phoned her when she resumed work to inquire about her neck. She just happened to tell him that I was cracking down, enforcing the rules. Needless to say, he was absolutely delighted and phoned to tell me so. So you can see I can't back down now, even if I wanted to. Please don't let's quarrel, Meg. You know how I depend on you.
I'm sorry, but I don't feel very supportive at the moment. I just feel damn angry.
Oh, would you pick up those papers, love? How long are you going to polish that table for? There won't be any table left by the time you're finished.
Anyone would think the Queen was coming. Wouldn't even wipe me nose for my sister.
Hello? Anybody home?
Hi.
Hi. I'm not too early, am I?
Of course not. Here, let me take that. Come through. Well, I'd like you to meet the girls. This is Ellen, Carole, Maureen. This is my sister, Frances.
Hello? I hope I haven't put you to any trouble.
3 hours we've been cleaning.
Oh, don't pay any attention to that one. She's allergic to housework.
Pigs.
Come on, I'll show you your room.
Great.
Still didn't wipe me nose for her.
This is Hazel Kent.
Thank you, Mrs. Powell. I'm your solicitor, Mrs. Kent, Ron Patterson. Please, sit down.
Look, Jude sent you, didn't she? I don't want to put you to no trouble.
Well, I think we should discuss your defence.
Well, what's the point? I mean, they'll have to let me go anyhow once they find out they got the wrong person.
I don't think you quite understand, Mrs. Kent. The police have a very strong case against you. They found you in possession of the money from the robbery.
Yeah, but...
And on top of this, they have what amounts to be a signed confession.
Confession? I never made no confession.
Well, you did give the police a record of interview.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Do you recall what you said?
Sort of. Look, I wasn't feeling crash hot. I'd had a couple of drinks.
Yes, I understand. Perhaps you'd better read this. That is your signature.
Yeah, but I never said this.
What, none of it?
The first part, yeah, but not all this stuff at the bottom.
Think very carefully. On your own admission, you were drunk?
I may be a bit fuzzy about the details, but I've never even been to Western Australia, so how can I tell them all this garbage? Well, you've got to believe me, Mr. Patterson. I'm being framed.
And you've got to pick up from the loading bay, too.
I've got the hang of it.
Bet she buggers it up.
Oh, she's a cold bleeding fish, make no mistake.
Yeah, I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something not right there.
Okay, make yourself useful.
How'd it go, love?
Just great. He thinks I'm a half-witted drunk that can't think straight.
Solicitor? Oh, he didn't say that, did he?
No, but he thought it.
What happened?
I've been set up, that's what happened.
Who by?
The cops. He showed me this statement that I made at the police station.
A record of interview?
Yeah. It's got me name at the bottom of it, but it's full of stuff I never said. They got down that I said I'd gone to Perth and committed the robbery.
Now, come on, steady on, love.
Beat, I wouldn't have said that, no matter how smashed I was.
You've been verbal, Hazel. The only way you're going to get out of this is to come clean and tell them where you got the money.
I can't. If she found out...
Look, stop messing around. Where did you get it?
I nicked it, but not from the bank.
Do you know who did?
Yeah. Somewhere at the halfway house, right?
I can't tell you, B, so don't
Forget
make
it.
me.
I know already. Carter? I've got a bone to pick with you.
Such as?
Such as Hazel doing time for a crime you committed.
Says who?
Says me.
You're barking up the wrong tree. If she didn't do it, she's got nothing to worry about. But don't try pinning it on me.
Cops have verbaled her and she could do a long stretch.
Tough. Them's the breaks.
Don't be so cocky, Carter. The cops are after you, not Hazel.
Like I told you before, I don't know what you're talking about. If you've got any proof, you'd better produce it. But get off my back.
I haven't. Not yet. But I'll get it.
And then what?
You'll be the first to know when it happens.
Well, whose woodwork did you crawl out of? Thank you. Patricia Joyce Mann, is that you?
Trixie. Everybody calls me Trixie.
I'll bet they do. Illegal soliciting. Surprise, surprise. Righto, Trixie. Stand on the line.
What line?
That line.
Oh.
Oh, I'm gonna love you.
Why isn't anyone working the press? Where's Bea?
Gone to the toot, Mrs. M.
And Carter?
Out with the basket.
All right, rest of you get back to work.
I told you she wouldn't be long, Mrs. M.
You know the rules, Bea.
There was no one around to ask permission. You can't argue with nature.
Mrs. Morris, before you
Yes,
go.
Hazel. You're a pretty crook. I was wondering if I could go to Sister and get something for my stomach.
Well, I don't think Sister will be very sympathetic. But I'll see what I can organise.
Someone to see you, Smith.
Oh, I hope he's big and butch and handsome.
Well, you got 2 out of the 3, right? Good going. Don't take all day, you two. I've got more to do than play nursemaid.
She has all the charm of a barracuda.
Listen, how's Hazel coping? I'm worried sick about her.
She's in a pretty bad way. She's not coping with being off the booze. And now it seems the cops have verbaled her for that robbery.
Oh, no. She didn't do it, Bea.
No, we've got a pretty good idea who did, though, haven't we?
Yeah, Jean Carter. You know, the 2 of them were sharing a room together at the house.
And Hazel could have taken the dough from Carter.
What do you mean, could have? Of course Hazel took it. Carter's screaming blue murder till I suggested to ring the police. Then she went cold on the idea.
That figures.
Yes, but how are we going to prove it?
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Hello? Just come in, did you?
Yeah. This your territory?
Yeah. But I don't mind sharing.
Great, I like a bit of company too. Name's Trixie. Trixie Mann.
Jean Carter. This your first time?
Yeah, 14 days for soliciting. Still, I can use the rest, as long as I don't lose none of me regulars. It's too competitive now. You on the game?
Oh, you gotta be kidding. Even me old man didn't fancy me. Nah, I borrowed a credit card. This is my first time too.
Really? You seem right at home.
Well, what choice have I got? Besides, I've lived in worse places.
Hell, what's that? God, it's not fire, is there?
No, it's just the lunch bell. Come on, I'll show you the ropes.
As long as I don't have to wash up.
Oh, Sheila. How with the big bristles? Makes me feel just that twiggy.
She must have just come in. All this sitting around like a stunned mullets for the birds.
You want to lose points, do you?
I've got to get to that record book quick smart. Life in this place is giving me the tom tits.
What are you going to do about the cops verbaling you, Hazel? You can't let them get away with it.
Give it a rest, will you?
I just had a very interesting little chat with Jude about you and Carter. Why didn't you tell me yourself?
Well, I felt real bad about nicking the money. I know I should have pinched it from an outside and not one of my own.
True.
I know the cops want her, but I can't go lagging, can I be?
No, you can't, Hazel. But we might be able to get her some other way.
Well, I don't want no trouble. I feel bad enough as it is.
Well, there's still a little problem with your statement.
Hayes didn't say any of that.
Sure. You don't reckon the judge is going to take my word for it over the cops, do you?
I can't believe this. You mean to tell me you could cop 10 to 20 because some crooked cop verbaled you and you can't even dob in the one they really want?
That's about the size of it.
Well, the whole bloody system stinks. The law's supposed to protect the innocent.
I thought you had that figured out by now. The law and justice haven't got anything to do with each other, especially for people like us.
I'll hold the fort if you feel like a break.
No, it's all right. But something's come up that needs discussing.
Trouble?
In a word, yes. And if it's not nipped in the bud soon, it'll make our new security measures look like a joke.
Yes, all right. Get to the point, please.
Well, some of the women seem to be getting items that aren't on the buy-up list. Now, that can only happen if someone brings them in from outside.
Well, then, we'll have to screen the visitors a little more carefully, won't we?
I wasn't thinking of visitors.
What is it, Miss Ferguson?
Now, I don't like accusing a fellow officer, but...
Which officer?
Meg Morris.
Oh, don't be ludicrous. Meg Morris is an officer of the highest integrity.
But she has done time in here, and she makes no secret of her interest in the women's welfare.
Yes, well, she's been a probation officer in the past.
Yeah, and her attitude counteracts our regulations. The very regulations that you, as Deputy Governor, are trying to enforce.
Fine. I'll speak to Mrs. Morris. Now, if that is all.
I suggest a body search.
Out of the question.
Something wrong?
I insist, Mrs. Powell. The regulations state that an officer can be searched at any time.
What's going on, Colleen?
Well, Miss Ferguson here seems to think that you've been smuggling goods into the women.
And she wishes to conduct a body search on me. Is that correct?
Yes, it is in the regulations.
What utter nonsense. Colleen, you can't seriously
If you
believe...
have nothing to hide, Mrs. Morris, your objection is pointless.
How dare you? How long is this farce going to continue?
It is in the regulations.
The regulations also state that there has to be sufficient reason for a body search. You've no proof to back up your accusations.
My experience as an officer
That cuts both ways. My experience tells me that you're as suspect as I allegedly am, or Mrs. Powell for that matter. So let's search you whilst we're at it, shall we?
Oh, come on, Meg. This isn't going to get us anywhere.
Quite the contrary. Rules are rules. I'll agree, providing we're both searched. Ferguson first.
Well,
I have nothing to hide. But this exercise is pointless, so I will withdraw my accusation for the time being. Forget it.
And I'll withdraw mine. But I certainly won't forget it. And I'm damn sure no one else had put up with it.
I'm inclined to agree, but...
Erica, I have been here for years, and I have always given you complete loyalty. All right, I'm experienced and should be able to cope with it. But what about the junior officers? We'll be losing staff if this is allowed to continue. Joan has her knife into me because I told the truth at the VJ hearing. I thought at least you'd give me some support.
I would, but she hasn't stepped outside the guidelines. She's going strictly by the book.
She's scanning the fine print, and you know it. Now, first there was that ridiculous class switch. For what reason? None. And now this flimsy accusation. I just don't believe that Ferguson has the right to search me, rules or no rules. How would you like her to perform a body search on you?
Bugger me dead.
Calm down, Meg. You know I can't expect any support from Ted Douglas, but that doesn't mean I condone Ferguson's actions. She's implementing the regulations to her own advantage. I know that, but officially I can't stop her. However, I want you to report her movements.
What good will that do?
Forewarned is forearmed. Sooner or later she's going to get caught in her own trap. Just bear with it a little longer.
All right. But it can't continue.
It won't.
And he says to me, how's Trix? Well, I was only 14 then. That's how I got me name. I've been Trixie ever since.
14?
Yeah, I was a slow starter.
All right, a little less noise and a lot more work.
Miss Ferguson, is it all right if I speak?
Depends what you want to say, Lawson.
I want to see the governor, please.
What about?
Well, it's a personal matter, but it's urgent.
All right.
What's Paddy up to then?
I hope it's not what I think it is.
Yes, that looks fine. Just make sure that Mrs. Barfield is available that weekend.
Right.
You sure you would like a cup of tea?
Oh, no, I better complete these. Birdsworth, have you finished yet?
Won't be a tick.
Excuse me, Governor, I have Lawson outside. She says it's urgent.
Bring her in. Would you stay, please? Miss Ferguson, would you take Birdsworth to the kitchen and then back to the laundry, please?
Certainly, Governor. Come on, Birdsworth.
Now, what is it, Lawson?
Hazel Kent's in here for something she didn't do.
That's a familiar claim.
She's innocent. That robbery money the police found her with wasn't hers. She stole it from one of the women at the halfway house.
And then that woman conveniently disappeared, I suppose.
No, she didn't. She's right here.
In Wentworth?
Yeah, Jean Carter.
How do you know all this?
Well, Hazel told us for one thing, but Judy Bryant knows about it too. Carter told Judy her money was missing, but she wouldn't let her call the cops. Next thing Judy knew, Hazel had been picked up by the cops and they were giving out some cock and bull story about her confessing.
Why didn't she tell me this herself?
She's scared. You know what happens to laggers, Mrs. Davidson. She doesn't stand a chance unless someone speaks up. Look, I'm risking an awful lot lagging like this. You got to do something.
All right, I'll make inquiries. Take Lawson back, please.
Okay.
And bring Jean Carter to see me.
And then Mrs. M really gave Dover what for because Ferguson had asked to search her car and then asked her to strip off and search her.
Strip off? Oh, come on, Lizzie, you're having this on.
Well, I had me ear to the door, so I ought to know.
Are you sure Ferguson's body searched her?
Yeah.
What did Davo say? Oh, screws.
Carter, the governor wants to see you.
Me? What for?
Well, why don't you ask her? Come on.
It's going to be all right, Hazel. I told Davo the whole story.
Well, damn you! What's going to happen to me now?
You lagged to the governor?
I told the truth.
It's still lagging, though.
Well, what could I do?
I'll give you one thing, Paddy. You've got guts. By God, you're going to need them. No matter how much you dislike the system, there is no excuse for lagging. Not ever.
It's a pack of lies. Sure, I had money stolen, but it wasn't from a robbery. If I had that much, why would I be staying at a dump like Driscoll?
Why would Lawson make such an allegation?
Well, how would I know? Maybe she just likes causing trouble.
I shall have to check all this out.
Seems to me this place is full of laggers on both sides.
That will be all, thank you, Carter. Would you take her out, please, Mrs. Powell?
You're wasting everybody's time, I tell you.
Just get out, will you?
Sergeant Tanner, please. Erica Davidson from Wentworth Detention Centre calling. Hello, Sergeant Tanner.
Yes, Mrs. Davidson, what can I do for you?
I've just been given some information about Hazel Kent.
Information?
Yes, my source tells me that Jean Carter, not Kent, was responsible for the robbery. Is that possible?
I doubt it, Mrs. Davidson. We found the money on Kent, and besides, we've got a signed confession. It's pretty open and shut to me.
Still, it would put my mind at ease if you would run a check on Jean Carter for me.
Well, okay, Carter, you said?
Yes. She's currently serving 21 days here.
Right. I'll get back to you. For my sake, I hope you're wrong, lady.
Any sign of Lizzie and Maxine?
Give it a go. They only just left. What are we going to do about the freak in this point system, Bea? She's like a dunny diver, won't give up till she gets there.
No, I'm not giving up. There'll be a way around both of them.
I reckon Mrs M's going to toss it in. The freak's giving her as hard a time as us.
I always thought water stuck together.
Screws do. Except when they're bent and running scared, and that is when they are most dangerous.
Why is Ferguson crook on Mrs Morris then?
'Cause she lagged on her.
Well, then so lagging's okay sometimes.
No, lagging's for sucks.
Oh, okay, so I lagged, but I had a good reason, didn't I? You lot, you're just a bunch of selfish hypocrites. Mrs M lags, and that's fine because you get something out of it, but I lag and it stinks. Well, you can all go and get screwed.
Don't need a greeting party. Come on, get on with this work.
You're looking a bit frazzled. The women getting to you?
The women aren't the problem, and you know it.
Ah, yeah, working to regulations. Suppose it does put pressure on some.
Unnecessary pressure.
Well, you know what they say. If you can't stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen.
Subtlety's never been your strongest point.
Your strength, yours, it seems. You're sort of weaken in the face of discipline. You've got no respect for it.
I'm sorry to have to disappoint you, but I've got plenty of strength. I won't back away from you.
Haven't you been doing just that lately?
To a degree, I suppose I have. But it won't last. And in the end, you can bet I'll be waving you goodbye.
You already tried that, and it didn't work.
At the moment, you're manipulating the system. But sooner or later, you'll make a mistake.
It's all right to get these typed up then.
Yes, of course. I think that'll work quite well.
Good. Thanks, Heather.
Mrs. Davidson, please.
Yes, can I help you?
Oh, Sergeant Tanner, we spoke on the phone.
Oh, yes, Sergeant, but I didn't expect any news quite so soon.
Well, we're pretty quick off the mark in most cases.
Did you get any information about Carter?
Nothing to tie her into the robbery.
So you still think Kent's involved?
Oh, yes. Kent's our girl on that one. But Carter's a different kettle of fish. When we checked her prints, we came up with some pretty interesting reading.
Carter, Mrs. Davidson.
Come in, Carter. This is Detective Sergeant Tanner.
Look, like I've told everyone, I don't know anything about any robbery.
Maybe not. But you've been a pretty busy girl apart from that, haven't you?
Come again?
We ran a check on your prints.
I don't know what you mean.
Don't you, Carter? Oh, I'm sorry. That's not right, is it? It's Nola McKenzie. Or have you forgotten your own name?
Where's that lagging bitch?
Look, what's done is done. You would have been nicked for that robbery eventually anyway.
Wrong. The cops ran a check, but they couldn't pin anything on me. So your precious Kent isn't off the hook anyway.
So, you're lucky.
Lucky? Oh, let me tell you a few facts, little miss. Because of that lagging bitch, I've got to go back to WA.
I thought you'd been inside before.
Parkwoods, 2 murders, 1 a cop.
What's the difference in? One jail's the same as the other.
Not in West Australia, it's not.
Over there, they still have the death penalty for killing cops.
Hell.
Do you know what you've done, Lawson? You've just put a noose around my neck.
He used to give me roses. I wish he could again. But that was on the outside, and things were different then. On the inside, the sun still shines, and the rain falls down. But The sun and rain are prisoners too. When morning comes around, last night I dreamed we were together, sharing